Real Dads Lead. And welcome to another episode of Real Dads Lead. I'm your host, Dwayne Smith, and next to me is my partner in podcasting, Matt Hamilton. How are you doing today, Matt?
I'm great, Dwayne.
Yeah?
How are you?
Yeah, I'm not doing too bad, actually. Not doing too bad. Feeling good.
Good.
Yeah. So we've been going over the book, Stepping Up, Call to Courageous Manhood.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to be on chapter 8, but in chapter 8, there's a little bit of some advice from a dad to a son. And I just came across on Facebook on this, I don't know, it was just a random thing came up on my feed from a veterinary doctor. And while this veterinary doctor had this thing, advice from a father to son, I don't know why.
Yeah, it's kind of confusing. He seems like an eccentric individual.
I think you'd have to be a veterinary doctor. Don't you think you have to be a little bit eccentric?
I don't know. Either way, this guy is. His Facebook is, it's interesting.
Yeah. So he had like 35 different bits of advice
Mm-hmm.
that a father should teach his son.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know how old they were. I don't know where he got it from exactly, but I thought it'd be interesting for this episode to kind of go over some of those.
Yeah,
and
it'd be fun.
Discuss them. So
Kind
that's
of
what we're going to be doing today.
Yeah, some of them are serious. Some of them are kind of quirky. It'll be fun to work through.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
And so, anyway, it's a little bit different episode. If you've been following us in the book, then take a little break. We'll do that chapter next time.
Mm-hmm.
And so, anyway, you want to just get going, or you got anything else?
Yeah, I think I would love to say too at the beginning to feel free for anybody in the audience to drop some of the advice that they have received.
Yeah. In the comments, just if you have any good advice that you have,
some good one-liners, two-liners,
received or have given,
mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
then
they can be funny. They can be things that like have genuinely stuck with you and things that you plan on passing on to your own kids.
Yeah. Right. And we talked about that in the last one of the other podcasts when I talked a little bit about my dad saying how important are the seconds you save, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, okay, well, let's just go through them, and if we want to talk about one in particular, we can.
All right. We're gonna have something to say about every single one, I'm sure. Right, there's 34 total. Okay, number one.
Number one was never shake a man's hand sitting down.
Yay or nay?
I think if you're being respectful, you would stand up. I have felt awkward because I've shaken someone's hand while I'm sitting down.
Yeah.
I mean, if they come over to me and it's like quick.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's hard for me to get to stand.
Right. Yeah. So that might be an exception.
I feel awkward though. I feel like I should stand up and shake his hand.
Isn't that interesting? It's the same.
Yeah.
I mean, nobody's ever told me to stand up and shake a man's hand.
Right.
But there's something odd about it. Like I don't know. It's like you need to step up and be face to face per se.
Right.
Stand tall. It's like there's something communicated there that is just it's mutual respect.
Yeah.
It's manliness. I don't know what it is, but
I don't know. Maybe do you think that it could be even a superior inferior type? Sometimes they have if you go to a meeting and the person who's doing the hiring to a hiring meeting, they usually have their chairs higher than the other. You're lower. I mean, it's not always that way. I'm just saying that's kind of like I'm above you type thing.
Mm-hmm. You don't want that to be communicated.
You don't want that to communicate.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely teach my boys in addition to this. I've never said stand up, but I think I'll add that to them.
Yeah.
But stand up, stand tall.
Yeah.
Shake a man's hand firmly.
Right.
And look him in the eye.
Yeah.
Appear strong and confident. I think it's a good thing. It's a good first impression that you are a respectable individual and you should be respected.
Yeah.
And that you plan to give respect. It's a good way to start off a new relationship.
Yeah, I think so too. Do you see the movie It's a Wonderful Life?
I love that movie.
You do.
Theologically, it's terrible, but it is an amazing movie.
So when he offers George Bailey he was going to offer him a job. He's like, I want you to work for me. Do you remember that scene when
Early on,
in the yeah,
like the the pharmacy. Is it the pharmacy?
no, the what's the Mr. Potter?
Oh yes,
When
yeah.
Mr. Potter, they go in the office and he's like, you've been a thorn on my side. I'm
Mhm,
going to offer you a job. And he's
mhm,
like, what? And he told him how much he's going to make or whatever.
mhm.
But at any rate, when he was in there and George Bailey went into the thing and he sat in the chair and he's like, way down here. Do you remember that?
No.
He's like super low. He had to like, trying to get up.
Oh, I do remember that now. Yeah, I got it.
That's the idea is what I'm talking
Yeah.
about. Like one's higher, one's
Mhm,
lower. You just
mm,
make them feel inferior. If that's it.
So that was
But
some of
anyway,
it.
I'm just thinking that when somebody's shaking your hand, that's maybe an inferior feeling that you
Yes.
feel.
Yeah. I think you're right.
Right? Like I need to stand up.
Mhm.
Anyway,
You know the worst thing is though, and we should move on from this. This is only number one, but the worst thing, and my boys have said it as well, is when the other person is quick to squeeze before your hand is all the way in.
yeah.
And
They
they're
just
like,
grab it right.
like, do you want to kiss my hand? Like
Yeah,
that's
right.
so you just feel
Right.
it's kind of limp. It
Yeah.
feels very ladylike. Oh, it's
Yeah,
the
right.
worst. My boys have complained about that multiple times.
Yeah, and that's another thing. I, especially Scott, I tried to teach him you gotta squeeze,
Mhm.
squeeze when you are
Mhm.
shaking somebody's hand.
But
Don't just put your hand out
You
there.
gotta squeeze when the thumbs make
Yeah,
contact.
when
You
the
know what I'm
thumbs
saying?
make
The thumb
contact.
pit or whatever there.
Right, exactly.
Don't
I
be
think
too
that's right.
eager with the
Yeah,
squeeze.
I did have a
Be
friend
patient.
in college who never squoze.
Never squoze.
Yeah, and it was
Is that a word?
it was yeah, I think it's a word.
Squoze?
Squeezed,
All right.
squoze. Yeah, he never squeezed. And it was the that
It was the worst. Yes, just really, really limp. Yeah.
come
on,
just
brother.
like hate that. But that was something.
All
So
right, that's
that's
good
number
advice.
one.
Number two, don't enter a pool by the stairs.
Don't enter the pool by the stairs.
This is not a serious one, but it's a fun one. I think there's a serious principle. I mean, what I'm taking away from this is that as a man, you need to learn to have fun and never stop having fun.
Okay.
Jump in and, don't be afraid of the cold water.
Yeah.
Suck it up. Do a cannonball. Don't be boring. Don't be lame.
Jump in.
Yeah. I like that. I
Yeah.
like that advice.
That's interesting. Yeah, because if you walk in the steps, then it's like hesitant.
Oh yeah.
Especially when it gets to the
Mhm.
nether regions.
Yeah.
And you're like,
Yeah.
hey, just go in.
Just get it over
get it
with.
over
Yeah.
with. Yeah.
Number three.
Number three, a man at the barbecue grill is the closest thing to a king.
What do you think about that?
I think I always do the barbecuing. I've always done the barbecuing. Same with you or no?
Mm-hmm.
Your wife doesn't do it?
No.
Why is that? Why do you think that the men always do the barbecuing? That's like man cooking?
I guess. I don't really know. I've never thought about that.
I mean, if you look at
I think
all
it's
of
the meat concept. Probably there's some connection with like meat.
you always have to cook meat too, right? You don't cook vegetables.
I think
on
most people do. We cook vegetables on it. I love vegetables.
Yeah. Grilled
vegetables are yum.
grilled corn. Yeah. I don't know. That is probably I mean, I don't know. It's the closest thing to a king, but closest thing to like, all right, this is dad's job.
Yeah.
This is the man's job.
So this one is, so maybe it's the man's job and he should take pleasure in that.
Yeah.
It's a little bit overstated.
Yeah.
Closest thing to a king.
Yeah.
All right. Number four. We'll just go
Alternate.
opposites here. Okay. In a negotiation, never make the first offer. This is something you've taught your boys.
Yeah. Well, or not even. So Chad, who's actually right in front of us right now. So he decided one winter that he was going to shovel snow.
Mm-hmm.
And he asked me how much he should charge to shovel the driveways. And I told him, you'll make way more money if you don't ask. Just say that it's a donation. Just whatever you want to pay me.
Mm.
And
So let the buyer decide, essentially.
the
Let them
buyer
throw out
decide.
the amount.
Yeah.
And if it's too low, then say, well, actually, I can't do it for that much.
Or just do it. That's
Just count your
then it's a
loss.
ministry
Okay.
at that point. But he went out and came back. He's like, Dad, you're so right. I mean, they paid him 2 and 3 times more than he would have asked for.
Nice.
And it's just one of those things when you're just, volunteering money for some reason. If they're just volunteering money, they don't want to insult you. And, especially with kids, they want to give you,
That's good advice.
They want to please you. So whatever.
I think that we can undersell ourselves too sometimes. So
yeah,
letting the other person determine the value of that.
Right. Yeah. And sometimes I think that, in my job, if somebody complains, like it costs too much for your services or what have you. And in my mind, I come back, well, what would you charge for your service? I know what you want me to pay, what you want to pay me, but if you were the one driving all the way here to do the whatever job or what have you, what would it be? What would you charge? To be paid or what have you? I don't know. I'm saying what have you.
That's good.
All right, number 5, request the late checkout.
What do you think that means? Rest. Enjoy the leisure.
I think it just means, I don't know. For some people, it is a dominant type thing. Like, I'm in charge. Like, you say that we got to be out by 11. I'm going to dictate the terms.
So don't kind of do whatever needs to be done to not become a pushover, a yes man.
Yeah.
Just kind of go with the expectation and flow.
Yeah.
You don't want to be a person who just always falls in line.
Yeah.
I think that's a good take on this one.
I mean, I have requested a late checkout plenty of times, but it's generally, checkout's 11. I will ask. I said, can we do a late checkout?
And it's no extra money?
No.
I didn't even know this was a possibility.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm going to apply this next time.
All right.
Okay, next
You're
one.
On your way to manhood.
I know, right? This feels amazing. Number 6.
That's you, right?
Did you read that? Okay, I don't know. When entrusted with a secret, keep it. This is solid.
Yeah, that's good advice. Yeah. It's difficult sometimes, depending on what the secret is.
Yeah, and I think...
And there's always,
exceptions. Right.
Someone's life's in danger or things to that effect. But
yeah, being in ministry, for example, you might receive some kind of information that you can't possibly keep from your superior or a family member of the person that you're talking with, or what. Like, you just can't. You can't keep it from them.
Right.
It's not healthy. Being in youth ministry, we've faced things like that. For example, a youth comes up and tells you something. It's like, I can't not involve your parents in this. So there are exceptions, but in a general way, when entrusted with a secret, keep it. Christ talks about in Matthew 5, let your yes be yes and your no be no. You should just be a person who is known as trustworthy. If you say that you're going to keep the secret, you're going to keep it. Doesn't matter how hard it is. You're going to respect this person's wishes and you're going to keep it. Yeah. And that's the main principle behind this, I think, is that you want to be a trustworthy individual.
Right. Yeah. I like it.
Number 7,
hold your heroes to a higher standard. That also can mean choosing your heroes with high standards, or I don't know,
choosing those who, making sure that heroes are people who have high standards for themselves.
Yeah, right. Because you don't want to emulate someone
who's wishy-washy or who already has low standards.
Yeah. But everyone fails. So it's not like a hero has to be perfect.
You're not emulating them in everything, right? And teaching our kids to discern the difference, praise people for what they should be praised for and not for what they shouldn't be, right?
Right. Yeah, I like that.
I mean, that's pretty straightforward.
Yeah.
Right. But ideally, again, we should be having people who just in general have high standards for themselves.
Right. And if they make mistakes, they admit it.
Mm-hmm.
They do my focus principle. I know you haven't read my book, but if they do the focus principle, when they fail, they own up to that failure,
Right.
correct their mistakes, use what they've learned to
Mhm.
succeed in the
That's
future.
what it should be. I think maybe one note I would say on this though too is with our kids, we can teach them to receive the good and reject the bad, but we still have to consider who their heroes are, because if this hero or this role model, the person that they're listening to all the time, it's music or podcasting or a movie or whatever, if it's majority bad,
Mhm.
even if they know
Yeah,
to
right,
reject the
right,
bad
right.
but accept the good, they're immersing themselves in the bad,
In most of the bad, yeah.
and they
right,
can't
right.
help but be influenced by that.
Yeah.
So
Number 8.
return a borrowed car with a full tank of gas. It's a way of saying thank you, right?
Common courtesy.
Common courtesy. Yeah.
Yeah. It's similar to basically leave it better than the way you found it.
Mhm.
Like
Right.
whatever you're borrowing.
Right.
If you're going to use a space or what have you, when you leave it, it should be better than you found it.
Mhm.
Or at least as good.
Yeah.
Clean up after yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like it. Number 9, play with passion or don't play at all. What do you think of that?
I mean, I love it. For me, it's the way that I typically do almost everything. And when I hear passion, I hear with energy and with excitement.
Yeah, right.
Have fun doing it. Do it, for all practical purposes, close to the best of your ability.
Yeah. I don't know if I like the don't play at all part, but I don't like the all or nothing, I guess. Just because if you are, there's times where you can't give it your all, but you just got to drudge through it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And sometimes it's okay. It's okay just to drudge through it.
Yeah.
And but I know when you're playing, it just depends. My idea of playing with passion is if I'm playing and somebody's coming up for a layup and I'm ready to smack that ball and reject it into the third row of the bleachers. But if I'm playing with my kids, well, sometimes I would do that too.
Yeah. Yeah. So you hear like competitiveness.
Yeah, I hear competitiveness.
Okay.
Which is, I don't think is, try and compete. If you're going to do it, then do it 100%. But if you're playing just for fun, then you might have to cool it down a little bit. Or with your spouse, especially, or a girlfriend or something like that. You want to, you don't have to let them win, I guess, but you also want to be. You don't want to be a jerk about it.
It can be the other way around. Some wives are relentless when it comes to playing certain things.
Yeah.
It can be the other way around.
Yeah, that's true.
But either way. Okay, so number 10, when shaking hands, grip firmly and look them in the eye. We already covered this.
Yeah, we did.
Really.
Yeah, that was right.
So that's solid. 11.
Don't let a wishbone grow where a backbone should be. We've heard that before.
We have. Comes from the Douglas MacArthur quote, or prayer, rather, that we read. I think just the last podcast.
Maybe this whole thing's Douglas MacArthur.
I don't think so. There's no way he said some of these things. He's got a bit more finesse than that. So, yeah, don't let a wishbone grow where a backbone should be. It's akin to the quote I think that we've given before. Again, I don't know who says it, but that boys want ease, but men embrace difficulty.
Yeah.
As a general concept, again.
Right.
It's not wrong to do something that's easy or to rest or whatever, but we embrace the difficult. Like sometimes a backbone is just required. Something has to be done. And you can either be wishy-washy about it, and you can like sit there and complain about it and wish that it didn't have to be done.
Right.
But really what needs to be done is you just need to grow a backbone per se and accomplish it, because that's what men of responsibility do.
Or wish that you didn't have to do it. When you I just got to trudge through it.
Right.
Even though my
But
back, my back is killing me.
Yeah, right.
That sound familiar?
I don't know. What is it?
Uh,
For my back right
yeah.
now. Oh yeah, my back is a mess right now. That's true. Yeah. So
But
you
you're
can
still
you can
going
just
through it. You're
you
working
can
through
wish
it.
that it wasn't happened, but that's the backbone concept. You're gonna grow back and we're gonna do it anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Number 12. If you need music on the beach, you're missing the point. I think this is beautiful.
Why? Are you a beach guy?
Sometimes. It
Sometimes.
depends. It depends. I prefer the beach where it's just quiet. There's not many people on it. I don't really need it to be hot. Like I would be totally content on like a Scotland beach, where it's like I'm wearing a sweatshirt and jeans and whatever, but I think the concept is just like learning to be, you should be able to sit there in silence
Right.
and just take in what God has created, and hear it, receive it, feel it with thanksgiving.
Yeah.
That's
one of the best times on the beach that I've had generally is getting up super early when nobody's out, taking a walk on the beach when there's nobody else there, or sit down. Sometimes I do my devotions on the beach, just read my Bible or what have you, and I'm just enjoying the sounds of the ocean and things like that.
Yeah. You don't need distraction. You don't need entertainment, right? It's just you and the Lord through his creation.
Yeah.
It really is a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be a beach either, I think we should say. Like we should be able to be men who don't need to constantly be listening to something. People who can sit there in silence and be introspective, and listen to the voice of the Lord. And sometimes we drown out our own thoughts and the voice of God by our constant desire to be entertained. And silence, more than ever in history, studies have shown, it's virtually non-existent. Like people are just afraid of the silence. Most people can't sit still for 5 minutes in silence, just don't know what to do with themselves, But the church has always valued the spiritual discipline of silence. Getting alone, being quiet with the Lord, and listening. Yeah. So this is a good one.
Yeah.
All right. Number 13.
Carry 2 handkerchiefs. One in your back pocket is for you. The other in your breast pocket is for her.
Because we all carry handkerchiefs and have breast pockets.
No, but MacArthur did.
Did he? He probably did, actually. You're probably right.
Told
He
you
could have written this one.
So basically, to me, that is, be prepared for your lady friend, whether it's your wife or your spouse or your girlfriend, wife or girlfriend, or even your kids, like your daughters or have you. You can,
just the people around you.
Your mom, the women in your life. I think you need to pay a little bit extra attention to. We talked about this a little bit during our responsibilities of a father, and just the idea of that protection. I mean, you're protecting her, even if it's just a handkerchief, and you don't want to give her if you use the handkerchief, then it's snotty, and you don't want to give her a snotty handkerchief,
right? Yeah.
Have you used a handkerchief before?
Actually, I think I did when I was little. My grandpa always carried one.
Yeah.
Which I thought was totally gross.
Yeah.
It really is a nasty concept.
Back in their pocket.
Yeah.
I'd rather
I always thought, it's just not a good idea.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Use your sleeve, right?
You could. You could give one sleeve to your spouse and you could use the other. No, but this could be things like, always have an umbrella in the car, for your spouse, or be willing to give up your jacket, if it gets cold, or sweatshirt, whatever. Yeah. All right. Number 14, you marry the girl, you marry the family. This is really a really sound piece of advice.
Yeah. Yeah. You got to know that, because I do think that sometimes you're just, when you meet somebody, you're just, that's the only thing that matters. My relationship with her is the only thing that matters.
But it's a package.
It's a package. Yeah.
There are few exceptions. For the most part, it is a package. And whatever baggage exists in the family, it's very possible, I want to say even likely, that baggage is going to be carried by this girl to some degree.
Yeah. It will affect her.
Personality traits,
It'll
all that
affect
other
her.
kind of
Yeah.
stuff.
Even if she doesn't have a great relationship with her family, that's going to affect her.
Absolutely. Yeah. And you're going to marry into that. You're going to
Yeah.
marry into that trauma. You're going to marry into that baggage. You're going to marry into those personality traits.
Yeah.
And some of them may not be, sinful, but they may just be annoying, or
right.
irritating. And we always put on our best when we're dating, and we
Yeah.
don't actually see what's under the veil until after you say I do, and then you're like, I had no idea, that this is the case.
Yeah.
And it can become really difficult. It can be disillusionionary.
That's true.
Disillusionary.
Yeah. So I told you that. I mean, that one of my sons is married now, and his wife, my daughter-in-law, has always kind of grown up. Her family is a little bit quieter than our family. Our family is pretty loud. Overall, they're pretty loud. So there's times when she's over here and she's just got to get away just for a little bit, just.
Plus, it's all boys.
It's not just loud, but it's just stimulating. It's everything's loud. So I'm used to it, and so it doesn't faze me at all. But people that come in to our home, it's a noticeable difference.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and when she married Luke, she's had to figure out, well, this is when I go over to the Smith house, this is what I'm going to be dealing with. She might have to gear up for it.
And she said yes anyway.
She still said yes.
Question.
Yeah.
It's a good family.
Yes.
It's a good family.
We're allowed.
Being loud though is like something like I can get out and go for a walk or something. But the personality traits or the baggage, the trauma, that's a different story.
Yeah.
And it is the right thing to do for you and for your future children and grandchildren, etc., to consider these things.
Right.
Because it will inevitably affect them also. The legacy that you live or that you leave behind for your kids is in part determined by the person you marry. So, All right. Number 15. Go ahead.
Is that me?
This one's your favorite.
Be like a duck. Yeah, my favorite. Be like a duck. Remain calm on the surface. If we could just stop there, I think I'd like it. And paddle like crazy underneath. Be like a duck. Remain calm on the surface and paddle like crazy underneath. So I really like the first part, especially. You want to portray confidence, portray in control, portray even if you are nervous or even if like when you go up for like a lot of people don't like public speaking, but I would teach my kids, when you get up there, even though you're nervous as crazy, you're crazy nervous down here, but when you're speaking, it needs to be calm and confident. What you're doing. I guess the paddle like crazy underneath is be prepared. So if you are giving a speech, you don't just want to wing it.
Yeah, right.
You want to be able to. There's a lot of work put into it, so you can portray that even if you're nervous.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I think that's pretty spot on. I think that the concept is there are some people who are always calm and kind of too chillax about things, but they don't work hard. They're essentially winging it. But then there's the opposite where people work really hard, but they're kind of like in this panicky, irritated kind of mood when you need to have both. Work hard underneath in a sense so that you can be calm and confident when you're actually accomplishing whatever task you have at hand.
Yeah. Like it.
Yeah. That's
okay.
Good.
Now I like it.
Okay. Well done. Okay. All right. Number 16, experience the serenity of traveling alone. I also love this one.
Really?
Yeah, man.
Why? Why do you like that?
It's so, for me, it's something, it's very healing. And again, it's the peace and it's the quiet and it's taking in the beauty of everything around you. It's listening to the Lord. It's praying and I don't know. There's something rejuvenating about it.
Yeah.
I'm picturing myself in one of those like old United Kingdom cars that like the tiny ones that I'm like driving through the single road.
Right. Minis, like a Mini Cooper.
Yeah. The single lane roads with the stony walls and through the hills of Scotland or Ireland. You know what I'm saying? Just taking it all in. That's where I'm at right now.
All right.
That sounds amazing.
I mean, it does. It seems to be kind of like number 12. You know, on the beach.
That's right.
You're missing the point. It's the idea of embrace it. You don't have to like. I got to blare the radio. I got to do all this other stuff. Just it's time alone. Just and use that time.
But it's also, as a Christian, the element I would add is that, of course, we're never alone. But the point is that we need time where we're just alone with the Lord.
Right.
Nobody else is there.
That makes sense. Number 17, never be afraid to ask out the best looking girl in the room. Say that to your kids. I honestly feel like that is something I really want my boys. Luke was the best at that. Luke was like, all right, even though he was nervous, he wasn't afraid to ask. The other boys seemed to be a little bit more like timid, hesitant, like that fear, which I had, the fear of rejection. That fear of rejection is strong. But
I think that's very common in men, which is why this piece of advice is here, probably.
Yeah. But I've been watching every once in a while. I'll watch some YouTube shorts, and they'll have basically these guys going out and doing pickup lines on random girls or what have you, and they generally get their numbers or whatever. And I'm like, man, that dude is just some serious confidence. But listening to Jill, she'd always say confidence is. I mean, a lot of girls, they say confidence is one of the biggest, strongest attractive characteristics for a woman to a man, and to be able to do that is one thing. Now
it's courageous.
So now I do think there are women out there who are, get it so much that they, if they're super attractive and they're getting a lot of attention, that can get annoying. And that's probably the reason why you think, I better not. I don't want to.
But I say better to err on the other side.
Yeah.
You don't want to assume that they're getting too much of this.
Everybody else might be the same way. All the other guys, be the one that stands out.
Exactly right. Yeah, this actually reminds me of one of my favorite movies, and it's called We Bought a Zoo.
Oh,
have you ever seen it?
Nope.
It really is a fantastic.
Is it Matt Damon?
It's Matt Damon and Scarlett Johansson. And I definitely recommend watching it on like VidAngel or something where you can edit. There's some language in it. There's nothing like obscene or whatever. But there's like a few adult jokes that your kids may or may not get. And so I prefer to watch it there, but it's just a really great movie. And he has a line in it. He says, all it takes is 20 seconds of courage. That's it. That's all you need. Just 20 seconds of pure courage. And it actually has to do with this. He saw what he thought was the most beautiful woman he'd ever seen. And he remembered that his older brother had given him that piece of advice. He took a deep breath, just 20 seconds of pure courage. And he approached her, and she loved it. She loved the courage, and what he said, and then getting married and a beautiful marriage and kids and whatever. But that line, it just takes 20 minutes or 20 seconds of pure courage. 20 seconds is nothing. You know?
Right.
I think that's a great concept.
Yeah.
20 seconds of courage. All right. Number 15. Oh, no, we already did 15. Sorry. Where are we at? 18. Okay. Never turn down a breath mint.
Yeah. That's really especially for you.
I'm drinking your coffee right now. Do you wish I had a breath mint?
There's a couple things in there. One is it's always good to have good breath. Number one. Number two, it is anytime someone is giving you something in general,
it's just better to accept it.
Yeah, it blesses them.
Because your breath now smells good.
It doesn't have anything to do with your breath. It's just the idea of someone's like,
right. You're accepting the generosity.
I'm accepting the generosity.
Yeah.
When you're sitting in church or whatever, and you are sitting next to, especially a mom or whatever, I don't know, I keep saying whatever, and they hold out the gum, passing out the gum. It's like, Yeah, I'll take a piece.
And
Yeah.
and with
And it makes them feel good.
I
'cause
think that he
right.
specifically chose breath mint though, instead of the general concept of when somebody offers you something, received it,
Mhm.
because they may be dropping a hint.
Yeah.
You know, with the whole breath mint thing.
Yeah,
So
don't
it's
get
probably just
embarrassed about it.
wise.
Don't get
just to
embarrassed
take
about it. Take it.
Mhm.
Take it.
All right, number 19.
A sport coat is worth 1,000 words.
Do you own a sport coat?
I do.
You do.
I own a sport coat, some suits.
I've always wanted to own a sport coat,
Really?
but I do not.
Really?
Yeah.
What do you wear at funerals and stuff?
Well, I wear a suit.
Oh, you have a suit.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, it's pretty much the same thing.
Kind of, yeah. I don't know. Do you agree with this? Or do you think it's outdated?
Well, I don't know. MacArthur is.
Stop it, brother.
Here's the thing, because this is one thing that I have kind of been curious about, and I'll ask people every once in a while. So we'll see what you guys think. When you are looking at like television, and they are trying to portray like news reporters or like sports announcers or casters, or
Mhm.
you know, the women all have certain dresses and they're made up, dolled up to look really, really good.
Mhm.
And it's an attractive look. They're attractive. The men all have sport coats and ties.
Or a collared shirt, at least, yeah.
And so my thought is, for, if the TV is saying this is what men want to see in the women, is this what women want to see in the men?
I see. Yeah, maybe.
I mean, why else would they have everyone has sports coats and ties? Why is that? I don't get it. Unless it is an attractive look for a woman.
Maybe.
It can't just be like, this is just what we do.
Could be. Maybe if there's any women listening, they could tell us how they feel about sports jackets.
I mean, they always talk about men in uniforms or things to that effect. But
I just like it looks put together and kind of commands respect.
So why don't you
commands attention?
Why don't we do that on a regular basis?
I don't know. Next podcast, I'm going to be wearing a sport coat. All right. 20. This is good. Try writing your own eulogy. Never stop revising. Who do you want to be? What do you want people to say about you when you're gone?
Yeah, I like that.
Never stop revising. I don't know that anything else needs to be said about that.
Yeah,
I just think we just need to all ponder that.
Number 21, thank a veteran, then make it up to him.
I get the first part immediately. Thank a veteran.
Yeah, I do that all the time.
Yeah,
if I see they have
the hat
service
on,
mat. Yeah, I'm always saying thank you for your service.
Yeah,
and they do always appreciate it.
Yes, yeah, yeah. We definitely should do that for sure. I mean, whether they actually risk their lives, they were all willing to, by signing up, and those kind of people need to be honored. They definitely need to be honored. It is the honorable thing to do for us to honor them and to teach our kids to do the same thing.
Yeah.
I have introduced my kids to veterans and let them talk, with them and hear this, and they always enjoy it. So I love this one. How do you think we make it up to them?
I just think by, living up to that. As far as the way you live your life, it's like I appreciate
worthy of what they went to battle for.
Well, if you appreciate what they did, then live a life that's appreciative. Don't screw it up.
So kind of the modern. I don't know what I want to say. Basically, you hear people talk about how we have fought numerous battles, especially early on in our history, for freedom. And now we go and we are, some people would say, giving that freedom away to big government, or, becoming economically dependent upon China or whatever it might be. making it up to the veterans is doing what you should be doing here on the home front to maintain what they won with their blood, kind of thing.
Yeah, I think that's the case. It also comes, I think about, and I've thought about this recently, just the sacrifice that Christ made for us. Sometimes you take it for granted. So sometimes I think with veterans, we take it for granted what they did, and we just don't live a life appreciative. So when I see it in my spiritual life, like Christ did all this for me, and I don't even think about what he went through. Sometimes I just, all right, he died for me on the cross, and I know it, and I am appreciative. But am I living a life that's appreciative? Am I, or when I come to like a selfish moment in my life, am I like, I don't really appreciate it as much as I should.
And to completely neglect it is almost to trample it underfoot, to trample what he did for us underfoot. And I would say the same thing here, to live neglecting the freedom and the rights and everything like that we were given would be like trampling underfoot their sacrifice for us. Yeah, that's good. 22, eat lunch with a new kid. This is good.
Yeah. My kids were pretty good at that. And I foster that a lot as far as, if there's somebody, especially if they're eating alone or something to that effect.
Yeah, we've done the same thing. New kid comes to the youth group or whatever it might be, really encouraging them to
make them feel good,
make them feel good, welcomed, loved, accepted.
Yeah. Now, I need to do a better job in my neighborhood. So when someone new moves into my neighborhood or on my court, I'm trying to do a better job of getting to know them. I have to go out of my way to do it.
Right. You have to be intentional.
I have to be intentional.
Yeah. We have some new neighbors that just moved in across the street. So this is a good word for me as well.
Yeah.
All right. 23.
After writing an angry email, read it carefully, then delete it.
Oh. Delete it.
Don't press send. Who was that? Herman Edwards. He was like, don't press send.
What was that for?
He would just advise he was a coach in the NFL.
Okay.
And that was one of his big advices to tell his players, don't press send. You write it, don't press send.
Yeah. So kind of you're getting it out of your system, but you're not actually, you're not communicating to that individual.
Because you're not thinking. Generally, when you're angry, you're not thinking right.
Yes. Well, then maybe that's the read it carefully. Like, okay, now that you see the way that you're thinking, right? Hopefully you're going to see how ridiculous this is, or what damage it could cause. So just delete it.
Yeah. So that's what, number
23. That was 23.
That was 23. Yeah. Let's just stop there. I think we have like
10 more.
10 more.
Yep. It's a good place.
All right. Let's stop there. And maybe we'll do those 10, maybe chapter 8 for the next podcast.
It'll run nicely into it. There's more advice there in the book itself.
All right.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Yeah. This is good. It was fun. Some good insights. Some funny moments.
Yeah, and it gave me some good advice for myself.
Yeah. Good reminders.
Sounds good. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this. And just remember that real dads lead.